When a parent loves a child, they don't really think they're just loving a bundle of atoms. They actually think they're onto something that's part of who they are. And that's the spiritual instinct. That's the seed which the church has got to connect to and enable us to appreciate and understand. I'm actually by training an ethicist, but ethics actually, to be properly understood and to be viewed as Christian ethics, needs to be in conversation with the key insights and foundations of the Christian faith. So I sort of moved into systematic theology. And because my interest actually is social ethics, I'm especially interested in my doctoral work in the relationship between truth and toleration. Why should you tolerate other religious traditions when they're in error? It is an age-old social question that continues to haunt our world today. And I was interested in the relationship of truth and toleration. And as a result, I became very interested in religious diversity. So I've sort of straddled three areas in my career: Christian ethics, the Christian theology of other religions in particular, the basic beliefs of other world religions, and systematic theology. And I've lived in those worlds trying to link them together. People don't understand the picture that science is now creating of the world is actually very religion friendly. And what we've got to do as an age and as a church is we need to recover a sense of the world is just remarkable and the spiritual realm is real. And the truth about living and life is we're not just complicated bundles of atoms that came from nowhere and will ultimately face extinction when we die. The truth is we're all spiritual beings, made by a creator who will invite us into a relationship of love for eternity. And that's the opportunity of our moment. We've got to present this in a compelling and beautiful way, in such a way that people start recognizing the truth of what we're saying is true of their experience of the world. I think the primary gift of the areas that I'm interested in will be apologetics. And by apologetics, I don't mean constantly apologizing. I mean defending the gospel, that sort of old traditional understanding of apologetics. And therefore, what I think is needed is people, we've got lots of people in practical theology working on the practice of ministry. We've got lots of people interested in skills around pastoral care. We've got lots of people interested in making sure people are acquainted to the biblical text. All these areas are really important. I think the gift that my subject area brings is we're the group which actually says, okay, faith in God is intellectually viable. Faith in God makes sense. It is not true to say that the sort of reductionist accounts that Richard Dawkins and others present about the nature of humanity and nature of society, that's just not true. And it doesn't actually engage with human experience. So it's apologetics, that's our primary work. How do we explain the grammar of faith in a way that's intelligible, compelling, and believable in an age of skepticism? Virginia Theological Seminary has some of the greatest faculty that you'll find anywhere in theological education. It's actually always been the case. I mean, this is a school of Charlie Price. This is a school that's actually had very distinguished professors in Scripture. And we've continued that tradition. We are a resource for the Anglican Communion. It's our faculty that are constantly sought out and people want to work with, from Bishop Mark Dyer and the Windsor Report to Dr. Kathy Grebe and the Covenant to Dr. Robert Heaney's current service on the design of Lambeth 2020. In all these cases, we have an outstanding faculty. These are men and women who publish extensively, who are at the front of their fields, who are compelling teachers, who understand the importance of taking people into the discourse of faith and ensuring that it's understood and that they communicate it to others. One of my great privileges of being at Virginia Theological Seminary is the space to actually stand in the classroom. And I've made sure in recent years that I've always taught a required course. So I've taught every single seminarian who's come through having done the MDiv. And that has been a thrill. And I just love the space and opportunity to enthuse others with a passion for the questions. And such they develop a sort of self-confidence that they too can explain their faith to others and do so in a way that's actually intelligible, beautiful, and compelling. When I'm talking to Leslie, my wife, she often says to me, so what are you thinking about? Expecting me to say, oh, I'm thinking about what we'll have for supper, or I'm thinking about, but then I'll tell her, actually, I'm thinking about the conundrum of how do you re-enchant the world, or I'm thinking about the difficulty that actually the ontological argument had a real insight when it made a distinction between different types of existence, and therefore God properly understood as a being with necessary existence, which is a type of existence you cannot imagine not existing, therefore God must exist. I am continually fascinated by these ideas and insights, and I live with them. They're part of who I am, and writing is actually just therapeutic almost, because I'm only confident that I've actually sorted out a problem in my head when I've written it down, and therefore I find myself driven to write as I try to think through a conundrum.